Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how I make gourmet coffee in my RV. But first, we have to roast the coffee. This is what the coffee looks like before we roast it, and this is what it looks like after we roast it. To roast the coffee, we put 100 grams into this little cup here, and then pour that little cup into the roaster. Now this roaster is really amazing because it fits in this hard case here. So we feel comfortable traveling with it, and it fits right in our RV nicely. One of the biggest problems in having high quality coffee on the road was just finding high quality coffee in the first place. Many roasters that we would go to, or even grocery stores, had out of date beans, or maybe they weren't out of date technically, but they had gone stale. So we took matters into our own hands, and we've got a roaster that fits right in this hard case, so we can roast our own coffee right here in the comfort of our RV. Here's the roaster. As you can tell by my hand, it's actually a pretty small device, but it works out really well for us. Now, maybe you do not want to roast your own coffee on the road. Fear not, because there are many wonderful roasters all around the United States. But one thing to check is, do they have a roast date on their bag? Not the best by date, but like in a grocery store you go and it'll say best by this date. Typically coffee has lost its flavor by that date. It's gone stale. So you want to get it as fresh as possible from the actual roaster itself, not from the grocery store. Now, once you do have your fresh coffee, you want to go ahead and store it in the right way. So you want to choose an airtight container, preferably one that can allow the coffee to off-gas. So this bag right here has a one-way valve that allows the coffee to off-gas over time. And this is the canister that I use. It's made by a company called Fellow, and basically you can twist this lid on here and it will create a vacuum inside of the cylinder to keep the coffee that much fresher. My next big tip is to weigh everything for consistency and repeatability. So we have this scale right here. This is made by a company called Ikea, and a really great scale. So we weigh our coffee beans before we grind them, so that way we can know how much coffee we're actually extracting, and do the same thing every single time. So there we have it, right around 18 grams. We're gonna go ahead and dump that into the grinder. Getting a good grinder is something that's really important. This one is called the Niche Zero, and that has been an exceptional grinder for us, gets really consistent results. One thing you will notice about this grinder is that you can actually adjust how fine or coarse it's grinding. And this is important because some of these so-called grinders are actually just blenders, and you don't actually know how fine or coarse your coffee is, and that plays a role in the next step. Now here's how the coffee comes out of the grinder. It's got some kind of clumps in there. It's not really evenly distributed. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take this tool, which is called a WDT tool. I'm just going to go ahead and stir the coffee around with this and break up any type of clumps in there, and just make sure that it's an even extraction of the coffee. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna take this off. I'm going to use this tamper. This is just going to compress those coffee grounds into what's called a puck. And once I have that successfully tamped, see how it's all nice and smooth on the bottom. I then put that into the espresso machine. I put my cup underneath, and I go ahead and press the button. Now it's going to go ahead and extract the coffee. On the espresso machine, we can see the pressure, we can see the flow rate, and we can see the temperature. And we'll go over here and we'll see if we can get it coming out of the bottom. Here it comes. And this is how espresso is made, y'all. Now we're gonna go ahead and steam the milk for the coffee so that way we can make some of that creamy, beautiful latte art. Now, again, we're going to measure this out. So we're going to weigh the amount of milk that we have here. This is going to decrease the amount of milk waste that we have, but it's also gonna just ensure, again, a repeatable process that we can do time and time again. Now we're going to steam the milk. So we're going to stretch the milk a little bit by pulling it down out of the milk a little bit. Now we're going to stick the tip in even more. And if you look, there's kind of like a whirlpool action going on in there. That whirlpool action is important because those larger bubbles are going to get broken up into smaller bubbles. And those smaller bubbles are what's called the microfoam. Microfoam is what's used to help make that beautiful, delicious latte art that you see at your favorite coffee shop, or in this case, in our RV. Now I'm going to go ahead and hold the cup in one hand with the espresso in it, and I'm going to start pouring with the other hand. As it gets to a certain level, I'm just going to stop and let it sit for a second, and then I'm going to go in a few times, just kind of create a little bit of a design in there. Of course, I'm doing this on video now, so it's not like really perfect. I'm gonna just draw a line through it. And here we go. There is your gourmet coffee, fresh roasted coffee beans, all made in an RV. Drop a comment below if you would have done something different.